ஏ பேக்ரவுண்ட் இல்லாம இருந்தா நல்லா இருக்கா, பேக்ரவுண்டோட இருந்தா நல்லா இருக்கா? பவுன்ஸ் வல்லிங் பேக்ரவுண்டோட பண்ணிடலாமா? இல்ல இது பாரு கட் ஆகுது. இப்படியே வச்சுட்டுமா? சரி, ஓகே ஓகே. அது பரவாயில்ல, ப்ரொஃபஷனல் கலர் அப்படின்னு. ரெண்டு லைட் போட்டோன்னே எவ்வளவு மாறுது முகமே. ஓகே, ஆன் பண்ணிட்டுமா? ஏதாவது டவுட்ஸ் இருந்தாங்கன்னா இருக்கும். ஆமா, somebody is waiting in the இதுன்னு போட்டிருந்துச்சு. அப்படியா? So good evening all. Welcome to day 5 of our workshop. So I hope the last 4 sessions have been fruitful for you with different levels of knowledge and other understandings. Basically, I've been intending to ensure that whatever I share, you can relate to in your practical life. That has been my intention. So I hope that particular aspect is getting served. We'll take up a separate session on the feedback towards the end of today's session. So basically, this is what we have been discussing in the over the last 4 days. Today, of course, is for the real estate and other gold related aspects. And this is my client offering. Just wanted to tell you all about in terms of what I do for the consulting and what we offer in the consulting part. So basically, I have 3 plans: silver, gold, and platinum. And basically, these are the different aspects of it. Normally, most of my clients will look for either the silver or the platinum offering based on their actual work situation and their life situation. Silver is basically for planning for some 4 goals. We will look at different goal implementations using mutual funds, SIPs, RDs, deposits, and all those things. We'll definitely be looking at budgeting. Life and health insurance we'll review, analyze, and also implement it for you because that is our strength. Me and my team's strength. We are not tied to any individual life insurance company or health insurance company. So we have the power to analyze different company products and just recommend just that particular company's product which is most suitable for you. That is the biggest advantage for that we have. And during the COVID times, I've also added the service of implementing those plans. Otherwise, I used to say, you just take it from some agent and other things. And but later, I found that many times the wrong products are being sold to my customers. So to prevent that, I've started implementing these plans also. Loan management is another major aspect that I support my clients with. And my biggest heartwarming session that we have done till now is for TVS group company in Madurai, where we were able to bring out people who are in deep debt among their blue collar workers. So we have very good expertise related to loan management. Asset rationalization is another big unique offering that I offer to my clients, which is not done by any of the other financial planners. In terms of gold, real estate, their different assets that our customers have, we would rationalize and set it right so that you could achieve financial wellness. And implementation of the plans, that is also part of it. What I mean by coaching is that it is not just as a prescription. A doctor, when he writes a prescription, we just buy it and implement it. That's all. But with me, it is not just that. I will train, I will coach, give the explanations as to why certain things are being shared. So that way, with a deep understanding, you can go in for the implementation. It's not just some advice and just leaving it there. In the gold part, we'll be working throughout the year. So I can support my customers for implementing the plans on a regular basis. That is the biggest advantage in the gold part. In the silver implementation, it is not only a year-long process, but those who are interested in investing in the stock market and making some money out of the stock market, that support also will happen in the platinum implementation. So these are the charges. For my basic consulting, I charge 5,000 rupees. Year-long implementation and support is 9,500, and platinum is 25,000. Generally, my clients will make this 25,000 within a month. But this requires some knowledge on the stock market. I won't recommend it to begin with. Maybe a year, just implement it with the silver. You practice, see the market, see how things are. Start investing in a mutual fund. Understand what the stock market is. Take up a brokership. Broker account, and then you can gradually shift to the platinum. I would not recommend it for the freshers to the stock market. So this is what I offer to my clients. Now let's go into our today's session. So we have also already discussed this also. Wealth, it is defined by three things: monthly expenses, liquid assets, and the passive income. So, and passive income, we have seen that we can do it by these two things, which is leveraging other people's money and other people's time. We have already seen about how stock markets can do that for us. Today, we'll be focusing on rent from commercial and residential building as to how we can make the best use of that. Before that, people have been, we are all so much interested on gold jewelry. This is in fact a bane for the Indian team itself. So that is what I had shared with you as one of the articles of mine, which was published in Business Line earlier, from my earlier company where I was the founder director of Minerva Financial Solutions. So here we can see the purpose for which people are buying gold. Less than 5% of us are buying gold as an investment, which means buying and selling in terms of coins and bars. In fact, most of us don't know where I can buy gold as bars, as bullion. We tend to buy it as coins only. We don't have access to bullion at all. And even coins, there is a Saikuli Sadaram, which is basically the making charges and wastage charges, even on coins. So that way, we are not actually investing in gold. When you are talking about bullion, which is the gold bars, there is no making charge, there is no wastage charges. That, and again, if you are looking at buying and quickly selling when the price is more and those kind of things, that is the way you can actually make some money out of gold. All the other reasons are here listed here. This maybe I will accept. My child's marriage is next month, so I'm buying gold. That is fine. But there are people who are buying gold for their daughter's marriage just by yearly. I'll buy some 2 sovereigns or 3 sovereigns. So by the time the child becomes 20 years or so, I have 40, 50 sovereigns with me, 100 sovereigns with me, so that I can manage the marriage. So that is what was really worrying me actually. Gift for special occasion, great. Just do that because consider that as an expense. You don't mind. This is the worst part, 20% of it. I did not buy new jewelry. I exchange old ones for the new ones because of the latest fashion. So here you make double loss. One, the first part is where you lost the money in the first jewelry which was made, where there was a wastage and making charges. Now there is that charge is now getting repeated again in terms of the wastage and making charges, melting, remelting, and all those things. So together we are overall losing huge amounts of money when we are going in for this exchange of other things. And this happens most often in this part also, where I buy small amounts for my daughter's marriage, because automatically the fashion is not there, the designs have become old, the jewelry itself has become old, so I give it for polishing, repolishing. All those things are losing the material basically. So in this article we have discussed in detail about how the growth has been in terms of gold and related to the inflation also. So during this particular period, inflation was 6.28, gold has grown by 7.08. So imagine only 0.75% growth from the gold. We'll look at what has happened related to that also now for current situation. And in this case, if you look at it, if I had invested in gold, I would have got, instead of 167 rupees, I would have got almost 7,000 rupees. Wow, gold has increased in value. But the same thing, if I had put it into Sensex, I would have got 1,42,000 rupees. This was in 1908. This was in 2008. In 2008, for 10,000 rupees 1,000 rupees invested in the during this period, that 1,000 would have become 7,000 here. Here it would have become 1,40,000 rupees. So we are talking about 20 times more gold. Instead of buying and keeping small amounts of jewelry, which is adding up to that 10 sovereigns, if I had put it in the stock market, instead of 100 sovereigns, I would have got 2,000 sovereigns to give to my daughter. Which is better? That is my question. So I've shared this article in the group, so you can read it in leisure also. Now the question is, what about today? This was okay in 2008, sir, but today the gold price is at 5,000 rupees per gram. But then what happens? Even in today's situation, it is the same situation only. So I have updated it as of today, somewhere during midday before the close of Sensex. This is what it is. Same rates here. Growth rate, yes, gold instead of 7% growth rate has come to 8% growth rate. Yeah, wow, great. 8.8. Because recent jump. Inflation is 6. I've taken that. Sensex, it has not lost its stream. Still at 15.6%. After adjustment for inflation, what am I getting? Gold is giving me 2.65%, whereas Sensex is giving me 9%. So that is the difference. So if I had invested 10,000 rupees here, if I had invested 10,000 rupees, now I'll be getting 3 lakhs rupees from gold, whereas from the stock market, I would have got 34 lakhs rupees. So in spite of gold really jumping very high levels compared to 2008, which is there in the article, even in 2020, I'm still getting 10 times more gold, if I had invested it in the Sensex rather than directly in gold. So what is the best way to accumulate gold? Invest it in the stock market, and then just before the marriage, convert your investments in the stock market, convert that to cash, buy gold just before the marriage. So that way you will get the latest of fashion. You don't waste money twice in the making charge and wastage charges. So you will get much more amount of gold. That also is the biggest benefit. Not only do you get more, but again you don't waste money in terms of the wastage and making charges also. So that way, but when you want to give it as a gift, please do that. You want to give a gift on your daughter's birthday, fine. Just keep it as a small amount. Don't look out for those 10 sovereign chain as a gift. Again, you are wasting money there. Fine. So now coming to the most important part. This is the other major part which all of us love as Indians, which is the real estate part. So this I am recommending in a very strong way, not just for the capital appreciation, but mainly for the rental income, which real estate can bring in. So why are we looking at all these kind of investments and other things? Ultimately to have a good life, right? And not only now, but also when we are looking at when we are looking at post-retirement, right? Okay, so there's a question about inflation and Sensex. Okay, so let me answer that before going into this retirement thing. What is inflation? Inflation is the rate at which the normal goods prices are increasing across the board. So I think in one of the sessions we were talking about the cost of bread, right? So what was the cost of bread about 5 years ago? Maybe 15 rupees, 20 rupees. What is the cost of bread today? A loaf of bread. Today it is somewhere around 40 rupees, and if you want a wheat bread, it is 45 rupees. So this is called inflation. We are buying the same loaf of bread, but what I was giving 5 years ago was 20 rupees. What I'm giving today is 40 rupees. For the same product, for the same size of loaf and the same quality of bread. In fact, if you go some 8 years before, a loaf of bread was 10 rupees only, and the weight of the loaf was 400 grams. Today, the weight of the loaf has come down to 250 grams or 300 grams. So when you compare the cost of bread from 8 years or 10 years ago, 10 rupees and 400 grams. Today it is 300 grams. Weight also has come down. The cost has gone up to 40 rupees. So that is the problem with inflation. So it is not enough if my investment gives me more money alone. I invested 1000 rupees, sir. Today it is giving me for 2000 rupees. Wow, it has increased in value. Is that enough to buy the bread, loaf of bread today? It is not enough, because I need at least 4 times more. Because in 10 years, bread has grown up by 4 times. If my money increases only 2 times, it is not enough for me. So that is where we are talking about growth rate. It has to beat inflation. Inflation is, in Tamil, it is Vilaivasi Etram. The cost at which the price of goods is increasing. Sensex is Bombay Sensitivity Index, Bombay Stock Exchange Sensitivity Index. So it is a number which is formed by the top 30 companies in our country. So Sensex is top 30 companies in our country. Nifty is National Stock Exchange 50. So that's part of the name itself. It is 50, 50. So Nifty is top 50 companies of the country. So that is Nifty. Sensex is top 30 companies. Sensex is published by Bombay Stock Exchange. Nifty is published by National Stock Exchange. Fine. So now let's come back to this particular thing where we are talking about why should I be looking at inflation and growth rates, significant growth rates, and why are we talking about passive income? This calculation will serve the purpose for us. So again, going back to the retirement planner, let's say I'll slightly increase this to 30 years old, because most of us are slightly bit more older. 30 years old, I spend, let's say, 50,000 rupees in a month. I plan to retire by the time I reach 60. Okay. So I'll make this 0 for now. Now, my retirement is after 30 years. So this 50,000 rupees, because of inflation, will not stay at the same 50,000 rupees. So I'll need more money to sustain the same lifestyle of the 50,000 rupees today. How much will I need? I will need 2,23,000 rupees to maintain the same lifestyle today that I have today after 30 years. 50,000 is not enough. So to get this 2,23,000 from a bank deposit, I need to deposit in the bank close to 4 crores of rupees, so that from that interest, I can manage this 2,23,000 rupees. But there is a problem if I plan for this entire amount of money to come from a bank deposit. That is not proper retirement. Why? Because even after retirement, there is inflation. It is not only during the earning period. Even after retirement, I'm going to survive for maybe 15 years, 20 years. The average life expectancy of an Indian person is somewhere around 71 years for male and 73 years for ladies. And it is increasing. So we have to plan for at least 75 years. So which is 75 years of age, which means, and I need to plan my income for 15 years after I retire. I cannot work, but my money should come in automatically. So so I need to also plan for inflation. When I put my money into a bank deposit, will it adjust for inflation? Answer is definitely no, it cannot. And will that money that I deposit also grow? Again, answer is no. I deposit 4 crores. Will the deposit amount increase even by 1 rupee? It will not. Why? Because it's a fixed deposit. The capital will not grow. And times like COVID and other things, my interest rate also will come down. Let's say I planned for 7%. But during COVID and other things, it has already come down in a big way. 5%, 5.5%, it is coming down in a drastic way. So how do I survive? When I'm older, the cost of goods are increasing, but the interest rate is coming down. So if I plan for my retirement purely based on bank deposits, then I'm doing a big mistake. It is not enough. If I'm dependent only on my EPF, if I'm only dependent on my PPF, if I'm only dependent on this kind of investment, it will not serve my purpose. So I also need to have something coming from my passive income. That passive income also has to keep on increasing. So how do I plan for it? This is something that I need to do. Doesn't mean that I should not do this. But another portion should come from my other areas. So that other area will be my real estate option, not just the financial option. So when I also have a retirement plan, which is including the real estate option, then I can actually enjoy retirement rather than just enduring retirement. Enduring is, okay, just managing with it. I'm just passing through. I have to endure, which means, yes, it is there. I have to surrender to the fact I cannot enjoy. Financial wellness, as per my definition, is achieving the goals while maximizing joy. My role as a coach, as a consultant, is to ensure that you enjoy reaching the financial goal. I cannot allow you just to endure your retirement. I want you to enjoy your retirement. So what is the option? It is using working on rental. Rental has to come from your house. So the problem is now is, sir, if you talk about a house, immediately there is so much of a loan that I need to manage. What do I do? Already I have a housing loan. And just to manage that itself is going to take me another 25 years. And by the time I retire. And enough is enough. Paying this loan itself is a major headache for me. Please don't talk about houses. I've had enough with my house. I'm sure many of you will be saying that. But there is a very easy, comfortable way to manage housing loans. To ensure that even a 25-year loan, you can finish it comfortably in 10 years lesser. So let's see how we can do that. So I've taken a simple loan, 25,000, 25 lakhs of housing loan. Today, even that is difficult, so I'll make it 35 lakhs. Even a normal house, an apartment or a small 2 cents, 3 cents land based house with a 2-bedroom will cost somewhere around 35 lakhs. So let's go with a 35 lakhs wala house. So I'm looking at loan period of 25 years and 12 year. Every month we are paying the EMI. So roughly the EMI will come to 9%. Okay, some 9% I think is okay. It's a reasonable interest rate. Sometimes we are getting 8.5 and other things. Let's look at 9 itself. So I'm looking at somewhere around 30,000 rupees to be paid on a monthly basis. Now, many of us are contributing to EPF, voluntary pension fund. So as salary person, let's only look at the contribution to voluntary pension fund, VPF, which can be extra, additional contribution to the PF amount. So let's just take, let's say you are contributing 2,000 rupees to the VPF so that you can retire comfortably. I'm just going to take just that VPF amount of 2,000 rupees and putting it into a additional payment on a monthly basis. Okay, let's see what happens now. Only 2,000 rupees, which was already going into a VPF, has been shifted into this loan account. Can you see how many months it has come down now? Instead of 300 months, now we are paying it in just 240 months. 60 months saved already. 5 years. I've saved 5 years by just changing the contribution location. Instead of VPF, shifted it here. And how much is my VPF giving me? 7.5%, 7.25%. Whereas I'm paying a loan of 9% on my housing loan. So not only am I making my money grow in a better way, right? Instead of earning just 7% and paying an interest of 9%, now I'm paying off this interest in a much more faster way. And I can finish my house just, much more faster by 5 years. How is this possible? Let's understand how and why this is possible. How did I reduce 60 months from my payment? So here is how it actually works. See, when I'm making a payment to the as EMI to my housing loan, first part is going towards the interest. Because I've taken a 35 lakhs loan, every month there is an interest which is getting accumulated. So out of this 30,000 rupees, the first part of the loan goes towards managing the interest, because that is the due to the bank. That is their right to collect your the interest, because they have given you the money. So interest is first collected by the bank. Whatever is the balance after collecting the interest, that is reduced in the principal to the loan, principal of the loan. So now the first month, my loan beginning amount is 35 lakhs. Interest is 23,000 and odd. So 3,000 rupees alone goes towards reduction of the capital, the principal. We are paying close to 30,000 rupees, but only 3,100 rupees goes towards reduction of your 35 lakhs amount. So imagine how long it will take for you to reduce. In 1 year, you would have paid almost, let's say this is 30, almost 3.5 lakhs we would have paid as interest in the first year. But how much is the principal reducing? Only 3,000 and odd per month. That into 12. Only 36,000 rupees out of that. Instead of 3.5 lakhs, only 36,000 will reduce in your principal. So end of the 12 months, see, maybe 40,000 rupees. That is all that is decreased. So we are, initial few years, we are only paying the interest. It does not decrease the principal at all. So initial 4 or 5 years, all the amount goes only towards the principal repayment. Interest repayment does not go towards the principal at all. But supposing I pay just that 2,000 rupees extra, interest is already covered in that 30,000 rupees. Now, and from there, additionally, that 3,000 is there. And apart from that, I'm paying this 2,000 rupees extra. So where will this 2,000 rupees go? It goes directly into the principal. It does not go towards the interest because interest is already covered. So that is where now if you see the 12th month, see, instead of 34 lakhs and 60,000 rupees, now it has become 35,000 rupees. That additional 12,000, that 24,000 that I paid is all gone straight into the principal itself. So that is the biggest advantage when we pay some small amount extra. Now let's say once in a year you get some small increments or a bonus increments we can see here. So once in a year get some small increment, you enjoy, let's say 50% of that increment for your other expenses. Let's say you pay only that small portion of that increment towards your housing loan principal. Just contribute that alone. Again, you will have a quick jump in paying it off. And once in a year, let's say we get a bonus, and can we pay only a part of the bonus? Diwali bonus, New Year bonus, whatever that bonus may be. Okay, Christmas bonus, whatever that bonus may be. Let's say you get some small amount. That bonus, let's say, is 25,000 rupees. And you will pay only 10,000 rupees extra towards this housing loan, let's say. Okay. Now let's see. The first 12 months ago, of course, you cannot change much. So what I will do is, again, I will make this 0. Okay. And I'll just add only 10,000 rupees here. Only once. Only once I am paying just 10,000 rupees. See how many months it has come down. 2 months has come down. What is 2 months equal to? 60,000 rupees. I pay only 10,000 rupees, but my total decrease is 60,000 rupees. Now, what if I pay one whole EMI itself? Okay, I pay one whole EMI itself. Eight months gone, right? So this is how we can quickly pay it off. I pay only one EMI extra, 8 months has come down. 3/4 of a year has come down. 8 installments lesser. So, and again, after one more year, again reduce by 1 month. Quickly, down, down, down. Imagine how fast we can pay this off. Right? So this is how we can quickly pay off our housing loan and get relief from this big burden called housing loan thing. And what should I do for my house? We all have that dream house. I want you to divide your goal to reach your dream house into 2 steps. Don't think that your dream house is going to be the only house in your life. I want to differentiate between your first house and your dream house. Your first house should not be your dream house. Dream house, I guarantee, I assure you that you will build your dream house. But give it some time. Now we know that we can quickly finish off a housing loan, right? So give it some time so that we will achieve it a bit more later, but I will ensure that you get your dream house. I want you to first build your first house. This is your dream house. Let's say all facilities, big one, lot of fancy items, trees, plants, everything, right? Look at the architecture. So very beautiful, right? Enjoy all those things, all facilities, all rooms, AC, everything. Dream house. Maybe you have a swimming pool at on your rooftop. Have a pathway, a car parking for 2-3 cars, everything. That can be your dream house. But I want you to postpone your dream house for some time. Before that, build your first house. How should your first house be? Your first house should look like this. What is the difference between that dream house and the first house? The first house is not built for your dreams. It is for ensuring that your dreams happen, and it happens comfortably without any pain. And to sustain you to live in that dream house forever. That is where this first house should be built. What is this first house for? In fact, in this, you will find that the first gate is for the house owner. The first big gate is for the house owner. He has a car park. He has 2 floors, ground on the first. But look at the other gates. Look at the second floor, ground plus 1 and ground plus 2. Look at the second floor. That second floor is fully for rental. These 2 gates again fully for rental. No space for trees, no space for plants. He's given everything on the outside. No space for, I mean, he has space for parking, but majority of the space is used for rental, for generating rental income. This should ideally be your first house, where you generate more and more income. Yes, you do live here for some time, but this is still, you have enough money from your rental so that you can live comfortably in your dream house. That is the ideal way to build your dream house. The first house should be to generate income. Dream house is for your pleasure. The first house is an asset, because look at this house. It generates so much of income. Many, places here, upstairs, so many people are on rent. Here, all rented. These are for families. This upstairs is all for working women, working men, office goers, and those kind of people. Paying guest kind of a place. So small places, more rental. Look at how beautifully this guy, this house owner has built his plan. So the first house is an asset. The dream house actually is a liability. You're sitting there, you've paid all that money. Okay. The first house, live in a part of it. Again, similar to what this person has done. He's living in a part of that house that he has built. Rest he has given it out on rent. He or she. So live in a part of it. Later you shift to the dream house, and the part that you are living in, that also give it for rent. Isn't that a beautiful idea? Dream home, you are living in it. And it requires lot of planning post-retirement. Yes, for now you are earning. You can have a maid and all those other things for 5-10 people working for you. All that is fine. But after retirement, when the money is less, how will you managing that house itself? That is what I've come in here. Your first house will support you during old age, financially and also physically. Because it's small places. Let it out on rent. Let it come. Whereas your dream house, managing that physically even is going to be a big problem. You have a 2,000 square feet house. How will the lady of the house manage that? Both of you will have, husband and wife will have knee pain, this pain, that pain, everything. How will you manage a 2,500 square feet house? So ideally, post-retirement, you need a smaller house, so that physically you can manage that comfortably. And your first house supports you financially, whereas the dream house only supports your ego. And it is a big drain physically and also financially, even now. So don't go to your dream house straight. If you go to my definition of first house is, it should generate income. So first, build your first house for generating your income. From that income and from your working income, combine both. Initially, you would have had this EMI, which was maybe a bit difficult to manage, give it out on rent and all those things. That rental comes in. Then based on that rental and also your EMI, then you go and build your dream house. That is the best way to look out for our retirement. And also build your dream house. If you straight away go to your dream house, you are left with nothing. You don't have other income, and just to manage and build that house itself will drain us totally, physically and financially. By the time you retire, you're so tired, actually. Whereas that is where you are enduring your retirement. You're not enjoying your retirement. So other real estate options, what are they? So we can have other plans like, what do I do with a barren land? Is that a good choice? Yes, we can manage that also. In fact, my father used that very efficiently for his life planning. Barren land. He bought a big plot of land, and whenever a major and all that he converted into sites, small sites, 4 cents, 3 cents, those kind of things. So we had somewhere around, I think, 15 sites altogether. So whenever a major life expense comes up, he'll just sell one site, 2 sites. I go to college, sell 1 site, use that for the college initially expenses. My sister goes to college, sell 1 or 2 sites, use it for those expenses. I get married, my sister gets married. So those kind of, all those points, he sold some small portions of land. Small sites. Sell 1 site, 2 sites, 3 sites, that kind of a thing. Ultimately, everybody's happy. Right? So a barren land also can be used in this kind of a manner. I have a question here. Personal loan, no. Personal loans do not allow for extra payment. So that will not be available. Please do use your EPF to close your personal loan. Great. In fact, personal loans will be something like 15%, 18%. That is what your interest rate will be on personal loan. Definitely, please do withdraw from your EPF and close your personal loan. Because EPF, you are getting 7.5%, 7.25%. What is the point? Use it and definitely close it. So barren land can be used in this way. Maybe 2-3 sites you can buy and keep it. My father had a much more longer plan. So he bought some 1.5 acres of land and divided it like this, made the road and all those things. It was a difficult process also for him, because to make this road, get those approvals and all those things was actually a big drain on his energy and time, physical energy and time. Whereas today we don't have to go through all that problem. You don't have to be a promoter. Buy some 2-3 sites in remote places, far away from the city, so you can afford to keep it. And by the time in 10-15 years, that value also will grow and all that. Sell 1 site, sell 2 sites, those kind of things we can manage. Plan maybe 4 sites for different goals and then sell them off when those things come up. But here again, we need to be very careful, because to sell that site, again, we'll need more time. Land will appreciate when you have time, something like 10 years, 15 years. If your goal itself is within 3 years, within 4 years or 5 years, then it will not appreciate enough, because even to sell land, it will take at least 1.5-2 years. You need to tell them, just tell them, tell the broker saying, just check what rate it is going now. He'll come back with some rates. Tell them, no, not enough. This is my rate. If somebody comes, then you tell it. That itself will take at least some 1.5 years for you to sell that land. Land is not like shares. You cannot just like that sell land. Shares, today you sell, day after tomorrow you get the money. Land will not go like that. Land, if you want to sell immediately, then the price also will drop by 50%. So there is no use for all that appreciation in the land. We need to be very careful when you are looking at barren land as our life plan, this thing. We need to be very careful there. We need to plan much in advance. If you have 15 years for your life goal, go for barren land. Otherwise, it is going to be difficult to utilize the benefits of the growth of the barren land value. And remember, barren land also consumes money, because you need to maintain it. Somebody else will put up a hut there, and they say, and after 5 years, they'll say, this is my land. I've stayed here for so long, so give me money to vacate the place. All those problems will come. So fencing that, going and checking that on regular basis, although it is that we need to check on a regular basis, even inside developed sites. Even if it is a gated community, we need to check for whether the barren land is still safe and secure, whether somebody has occupied that and all that. We need to be very careful there. Otherwise, it is going to be a problem with barren land. So any of investments for that matter, shares also it is the same. We need to monitor our investments. We cannot just like that say, see, I've thrown some seeds of rice there automatically. After if I go after 10 years, I will have the entire land with rice. Never. You will have only the kacha these things there. Good things will never happen by themselves. Bad things will automatically happen by themselves. That is something that we need to keep in mind related to investments. Okay. So commercial buildings again. Commercial buildings again a fantastic choice if you are looking at long-term regular income. But this cannot happen at all the places. And many a times, if the location is good for commercial building, then the rate also will be more. So we need to be very cautious about cautious and be careful for looking at commercial building sites. But they are worth the effort. If you can develop into a commercial building, imagine just having a place where you can have a ATM on a rent. If you can rent it out to a bank, rent it out to any of these offices, places, small stores even. All those, the biggest advantage when in a commercial building is the rental is on a square feet basis. It is not based on this entire zone. When you let it out on a house basis, it is for a family. It is so the rental is not calculated based on square feet. It is for the whole place. So you said 2-bedroom house, 10,000 rupees. 3-bedroom house, 15,000 rupees. Nobody checks on what is the size is. So even bigger house means your actual yield is lesser. To construct it, you pay more. But when it comes to the rental, you don't get as much as 2 houses of smaller size. That is with the house. And again, there are two rooms in a house which actually consumes so much of money to build. Any guesses on those 2 rooms? Anybody? In the whole house, these 2 rooms will consume huge amount of money. Super. Exactly, Mr. Vinod. The kitchen and the bathroom. More than 30 to 40% of the cost of the house goes into the kitchen and the bathroom. Rest is all the other things. So, whereas in a commercial building, you don't need both of them. That is the beauty of it. Bathroom can be a small place and you don't need all those fancy things. It can even be a common toilet for a 4 or 5 such rental places, shops. You can have one common restroom area. No kitchen, no need for kitchen at all. So, and you sell it in square feet basis. Square feet 50 rupees, square feet 10 rupees, square feet 20 rupees. So your yield is much more. The cost to build that is significantly less and your yield is significantly more. So even if the site, the land to build that commercial building is a bit more costly, it is definitely worth it to consider those kind of places also. And in places where you, based on the location, again, real estate, there are so many factors that you need to consider. Based on the location, see if you can let it out for paying guest type of people, working men, working women, students. So those are again big options, big, good, high yield options. They're not commercial typically. At the same time, the yield can be much more. They're not like houses. Yield can be much more. So check out on those options also. But again, this may not happen at all the places. I was fortunate. In my house, we have built some rooms where we allow lady paying guests. So we had working women coming in, and our house is very much near the college belt of Coimbatore. Many large colleges are there. So mostly these are students who come in. So they stay for 1 year, 2 years, then go off. That's it. very easy to maintain. There's no other long-term liability and things like that. Yes, maybe for 2 months in a year, you don't get rental. That's fine. Doesn't matter at all. The maintenance is much, much lesser compared to a family-based stay and other things. No need for car parking and all those things. So today, if you're looking at a family to stay, people will definitely ask for two-wheelers and one car parking. Whereas when you are looking at students, no need for car parking. So those are again other benefits that you have. So look out for those kind of things. And based on the facilities that you offer, you can increase or decrease the rental that you want to give. So those are again very good options that you have for your long-term passive income generation. And the biggest advantage when you are looking at rental compared to one purely fixed deposit or your EPF and PPF based retirement planning, or even your LIC and other company based pension plans, don't even go near those pension plans. The biggest advantage here when we are looking at these kind of real estate based thing is two major advantages that you have. One, for a period of time, your capital also appreciates. We were talking about how that 4 crore will not even become 4 crore in 1 rupee. Whereas your building and your land value, that definitely goes up. Even if slow, definitely goes up. That is one big advantage that you have. Capital appreciation is there. So post-retirement and other things, in case there is a major problem where you need a large amount of money, you can even think of selling this at a good price. Second is, which is never possible with your fixed deposits and other things, is the matching for inflation. With rental, we can increase your rental over a period of time. And today, most of the agreements in rental is including for inflation on a yearly basis. So when you let it out on for an ATM and other things, typically the agreement today, everything says that they benchmark it with the government inflation index, and they increase that on a yearly basis. So your rental increases on a yearly basis automatically. The same thing you can do it for your paying guest rooms or your families and other things. So this is the only proper and right way when we are looking at long-term financial planning and your retirement. So I have both. Because not all the things, when you go only for rental, then when there's a sudden emergency and other things, then you'll have to sell those places. So have that cash part also with you, which can take care of any medical emergencies and other things like that. And this significant portion should come from the rental if you're looking at retirement. No better passive income than this. People who talk about those MLM based passive income and other things, I don't believe in, because if you don't work there, you don't get the money. It is like, again, continuing to work. Whereas here is the proper retirement plan that you can have. So to quickly summarize what we have been discussing in the last 5 days, life insurance, go only for term. Simple. It should be term, and term only. Nothing else. If your agent tries to sell you anything else, either you kick her off, or you run away from that person. That's it. That is the only way. If it is term insurance, it has to be only term. Simple. When it is health insurance, please do look at the base insurance, and on top of that, the top up. This is why should I not go only for the base for 15 lakhs? Because then your cost goes up significantly. So you can look at maybe 3 lakhs or 5 lakhs as your base insurance, and then 3 lakhs to 15 lakhs as your top up. If you have 5 lakhs as base, then 5 lakhs to 15 lakhs as your top up. Today, at least 15 lakhs is the minimum health insurance that you should have for your family. If you are 3 people, at least 20 lakhs if you are looking at 4 people family. Reason again is Corona. 5 lakhs per person is the average expenses for Corona. And last week there was this release of Corona Kavach and other scheme, right? Proposed by IRDA. please do take those plans. If you want any support related to taking up this Corona plans, please do be in touch with me. I'll support you for that, for implementing those. Very less. For all our factory employees, we've implemented something like 1,020 rupees for people who are less than 25 years old. 1,020 or 1,060 rupees. That's it. For 5 lakhs of cover for 9 months. And that will cover everything related to Corona. So that is the biggest advantage that you have. Normal health insurance plan will treat you for Corona, but it will not give you for all those personal protective equipments and gloves and all those things. Those are consumables. They will not pay. They'll pay for medicines. Medicines, what do you take for Corona? Nothing. Kabas or Kudinir and some of those antibiotics and other things. Hardly any cost. Is there any surgery? No. Is there room rent? Yes. Room rent will be paid by our normal this thing. But if you look at most of the bills, all those bills are mostly for PPEs and used by the doctors, nurses, and you when you are there in the Corona this thing. The entire gowns made of that one-time use things and all those things. They are very costly. And every day you change it some 10 times. I mean, at least the nurse changes it 10 times, which means significant cost which will not be paid by the normal health insurance plan. Whereas the recently announced Corona Kavach and Corona Rakshak by IRDA, these will take care of all these things. So we cannot miss that. Take up those plans if you are not already taken it, in case you need any support. This was released only last Thursday. So less than a week, but they are being very useful plans. I'm advising and recommending all my clients also to take it up. So we are looking at RDs and FDs, how they can take care of all our yearly requirements. School fees for child, insurance, term plans, premiums, car insurance, bike insurance, all those things, whichever comes up on a yearly basis, ensure that you start the RD on the month that you need to pay that. Next year, close that RD, pay it off. Simple. Don't extend your RDs for 2 years, 3 years and all those things. 2 years and 3 years RDs will be for your house down payment. It will be for your car down payment. Instead of looking at a car loan after taking up a car loan and then paying it for 3 years, 3 years in advance, start a RD for your car and you will have your car on your own money instead of taking a car loan. That is the beauty of financial wellness. FDs, yes, you can take it. Yes, there's a good question here. Yes, this Corona Kavach and Corona Rakshak, they are additional plans specifically designed for Corona. So any expense related to Corona related treatment will all be served by these Corona health insurance. So I would recommend that you do take it up. And it's very low cost. For 5 lakhs cover for 9 months, we are talking about for a less than 30-year-old person, 1,060 rupees. So for me, for my entire family of 4 members, I've paid some 6,300 rupees. Something like that. I don't remember the exact amount. 6,300 rupees for 2 adults and 2 children. So that is a cost that we are talking about. Definitely worth it. So, and every one of us have 5 lakhs of cover. So that is the beauty. Every one of us have 5 lakhs of cover and the total cost is only 6,300 or 6,400 rupees. That is all. It is worth it. Please do take it. Stock markets, we were discussing in detail how for different, and this is only for the short term. If you are a day trader, like people who are using my platinum plans, that is okay. You can look at short term. But if you are new to the stock market, if you are looking at long-term investments, even I don't do day trading for long term. For my children, I only accumulate through SIPs, buy some specific shares, and then keep them for the long term. I don't do day trading for my child's education. So that is something that we need to be very clear for. So stock market is for the long term. Mutual funds, yes. Very easy to invest, very small amounts to invest, very convenient, comfortable to invest, and no better easy planning for the long term. When you're typically looking at goals like retirement, your child's education, child's marriage, and all those things, no better thing like this. The best combination is to have a term plan with good covers, as we have been discussing. One, to cover your income. Second, to cover your loans. And the third, to cover your dreams. To cover these three things in your term plan, spend that money. It is an expense. Rest of the money, put it into mutual funds for your long term. So that way, in case I am not there, then my term plan will take care of my dependents and my loved ones. And the mutual funds, when the term plans are over and I'm still there, alive, happy, enjoy that. And you have the money coming in from the mutual funds to support you with your life. So the best combination when you are looking at long-term retirement and long-term plan is to have the life insurance plan to take care of your loved ones and to have mutual funds for the based on the stock markets for your investments and things. And that is why I say insurance companies hate me. I don't allow my clients to waste their money on premiums. Rather, you should spend your premium for what is you should spend. Again, remember, it is not to come back. You should spend your premium, minimum amount of it, to take care of your health and your life. Rest of it, invest. Don't just save, invest. Gold, we have seen, is only for that purpose of marriage and things like that. It is definitely not for investment. Gold is for gifting. It is for just giving it away. Giving it away for your loved ones. That's it. It is not for the long term. Real estate, definitely a good choice. And don't just build your first house should not be your dream house. The first house should be your asset which will generate money for you. Using that money and using your EMI which you are already been paying for your first house, combine them both and then build your dream house. And plan for more number of houses during your lifetime. Why should we limit it only to one dream house? Your dream house should be the last house that you build. It should not be the first house that you build. So enjoy your financial wellness. That is what I would want to say. Thank you very much, all of you, for all these days being with me. So I just wanted some quick feedback in terms of maybe you can just switch on your mics and give me a quick feedback on the content. How you liked it? Any changes that you want in the content? Anything that you want me to add apart from what we have discussed?
Hello, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, really the discussion is very nice.
Okay.
Especially the term insurance and the health insurance. Especially
Okay.
The term insurance is very nice, sir. Because
Yeah.
we no need to spend any additional amount for that. And everything is fine, sir. If we add additionally about the bond market, that is very useful for us.
Okay. Okay.
Investing on bond market, because nothing I know about the bond market.
Okay.
Otherwise,
Okay.
everything is fine. Everything is very nice. Excellent, sir.
Fine. Fine. Appreciate that,
Thank
Mr.
you. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Anybody else related to the content, please? And I have a few more questions basically about in terms of the value of content that we have had. In terms of, this course was charged at 500 rupees, right? Many of you have paid and joined this content. So was there value for money? And my regular program, I am planning to charge 2,350 rupees for this particular course. So do you think people will appreciate that cost for this program? This 5 days? Okay, you're saying sure. Okay, fine. Thank you. And other thing is related to the timing. Is this timing okay for you? The 7 o'clock in the evenings? Eight PM would be better. Okay. Thanks, Mr. Rana. 8 to 9 is okay for you? Okay. How about others? 8 to 9. Okay. Fine. So I'll consider that definitely. The other thing is, yeah, okay, thank you. More than 1 hour gone quickly. Okay. So again, this is another thing that I really had as a doubt. Personally, I felt that leaving a gap in between will help you to implement certain things, come back with doubts and other things. But we didn't have much of that happening during these sessions. So do you really need that gap in between, or can we have us 5 continuous days, maybe Monday to Saturday, that kind of a thing? How would you like that? Or maybe we can make it something like yeah, Monday to Friday, and then one doubts clearing session on a Sunday. Maybe we can plan something like that. What do you advise? Was the gap 1 day gap in between, was it useful for you, or can we have it as 5 continuous dates itself? Okay. So gaps are preferred, right? That is what I also personally thought. Maybe giving that 1 day gap will help you to, I mean, consolidate your thinking, bring in, there'll be some thought happening. And those forms and other things that I gave, you'll have some time to fill it up and all those kind of things. Fine. Okay. So we'll go with the gap only for the future also. Okay. Fine. So thank you all. Thanks for your participation and your feedback. Thank you. Anything that you would like to add, I would appreciate it. And if any of you would want to go for my paid consulting part, I'm there to support you for implementing all your queries and hand-holding you for the implementation. To just quickly summarize, this is what I charge for my consulting. So in case any of you are interested in taking up my paid consulting, I will take you through the complete implementation part of whatever we have discussed now, plus the budgeting part also. Because these sessions we have not been discussing about budgeting. I also have a good budget planner, and this is the review that we were discussing about, the sheet that I had shared with you. So based on this, again, we will be able to analyze your current situation and check on what is it that is required. And based on that, I will recommend different companies' plans. I don't sell any one company's product. So that again, we have been discussing and I've been making it very sure. I'll give you a comparison for which is most suitable for your current situation. And based on that comparison, you can choose which company you want to implement, and our team will implement it for you. So that is how we will go with it. Mutual funds and other things, we have an app-based investment for going in for mutual fund investments. So this app is very convenient and user-friendly. So the entire KYC, your bank linking, everything can be done there. You will get alerts. You can see how much is the value of your investments on the app itself. So all that is done and ready to use. So using that app, we can, I will support you with the mutual fund implementations also. RD and other things, I recommend that you go with the bank where your salary is getting credited. That is the best way. So any of you who wish to be part of my consulting part, you can be in touch with me on a personal basis, and we will take it up. from there. Thank you, Avinash. So we're all there to make things happen. My goal for the next 5 years is to ensure that I spread this message of financial wellness to at least 1 million families. That is what is my dream, and that is the dream towards which I'm working on. That is why again I say that any of these sessions, it is better that if you attend along with your family members. I do recommend that. So this training session is not just for the paid member. I would always strongly recommend that you attend it along with your family members, maybe a spouse, parents, anybody like that. So that way, the implementation and understanding, the first part is the understanding. That is very much required. And then the implementation happens as a team. Because whatever we are discussing here needs your family support for implementation and achievement. It is not a single man's army that can achieve these. You need the entire family support to implement a financial plan and achieve a financial plan together. That is the biggest requirement. So even my training sessions, I've been mentioning that in the group many times. Please do attend with your family member, your spouse, and things like that. So best wishes to all of you for you to achieve your financial goals. Financial wellness, actually. I'm there to support you on this journey towards financial wellness. Anytime you are free to be in touch with me for clarifications and other things. Thank you very much. Best wishes and have a great day. Bye-bye.